And we are live. Good morning, everyone. Today is February the 27th, day before the last day of the month. Nope, nope, that is completely wrong because there's an extra day because of the leap year. Um, so welcome, everyone, back to the stream. I'm very excited to be back. I got back from my trip. It was a lot of fun. Went to New York City with a bunch of friends. That was a very good time. Um, let's see here. Uh oh. Oh shit. Fuck. That's not a good sign. Okay. Well, basically, something that has happened is for whatever reason, my user profile did not get saved on my laptop here. So everything has been reset pretty much. So I'm just realizing now, unfortunately, I have to set up my Audacity again, which is a huge pain in the ass. Well, not really. It's not awful. It's just it's annoying. It's really annoying. Um Fuck. Okay. Well, let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do everything again. Oh, great. Oh, that's really annoying. Why, man? Why? Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I do have stuff planned for today, but what I'll do is this. I'm going to say be right back because I need to reset up Audacity again. Or I guess I can no, I guess I can keep it on. Why is it not showing Audacity as well? That's actually really annoying. I'm not gonna lie. Fuck, man. All right. Well, I think I have. Let me see. What? Hmm. Okay. All right, let's do this one more time. One more time. All right. Well, okay, here's what I'll do. I'm going to just set it to be right back. And once I'm done setting everything up, I will be right back. It should take me no more than 10 minutes. So I'll be right back, guys. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. That's really annoying, I know. But I got it set up again for the most part. We're just gonna test this. Yeah. So I am missing one important shortcut macro. Um, I need to remember and see if I can figure out what it is. Let me see if I can figure this out on my own. Let's just see what happens here. Blah 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 blah. Oh. Blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. No, I did that wrong. 100%. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm so sorry about this. I'll be right back, and then I'll have everything set up. And then hopefully I never have to do this again. So, be right back, guys. Okay, I think I think we're finally getting near the end here of setting this fucking program up. Okay, so I need to go to the macro manager. I need to make a new one. We're gonna call this SD standard effects. We're gonna go insert, and we're gonna go normalize. Yeah, that's good. And then we're gonna add the compressor. 0.1 attack time 0.1, noise floor -40, normalize equals 0, ratio 2.5, release time 1, threshold -15, use speak 1. Yeah, that's the exact parameters. And then we're gonna add in another normalize. And then we're gonna go save, because that's all there is to it. Close. Go to edit, preferences, shortcuts. Then we're going to just type in SD, and then we'll change that to A. Set it. Yeah. And then now, blah, 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 blah. And there we go. Does it automatically. Perfect. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back in business. I apologize for the delay. I'm hoping that I do not have to do this again. If I do, I will make sure that I do it before the stream starts, even if it means I'm a little late. But anyways, it's good to remember how to do that. Okay, so welcome to part 45 of my journey to becoming a voice actor. We're on part 45. That's pretty crazy to me. Only 5 away from part 50. I think we should do something for part 50, something special. But I haven't decided yet what to do. Cause yeah, 50 streams. That's crazy. I mean, we're at 45 of these that we've been doing, right? 3 hours each, roughly. Some of them a little shorter, but that's a lot. So, the plan for today is the following. I actually have a gig with a client. I can't say who, because I haven't gotten their permission to, say who it is, because it says yet to be released. All I can say is it will be released later in the week, because they've posted that already. But it's somebody that I've been following for quite a long time, actually. Even before I started my voice acting, I was following this guy and the shorts he was posting. So probably well over like, oh man, I'd imagine like probably 2 years, 2+ years I've been following him. Um, all I can say is that he's an artist. I will not say what his name is, but he is really, really good. Like this guy, he knows his shit. Like he knows how to draw and design characters and make stories, and this is one of those stories, and I am extremely excited to be able to have the chance to work on this. I genuinely, this is so cool to me that I'm able to work with an artist that I've been following for this long. um It's pretty surreal. So, without further ado, let's actually get into some of the voice acting, huh? That's the point of these streams. Now, I have been away for a little bit. I had a bit of a sore throat, but I am feeling better. I want to get back into it, so we're going to do, as always, a little test. See how we sound. And we'll check our noise floor, too. Okay, noise floor is decent. That's acceptable. That's very acceptable because we can definitely get rid of the noise there. All right, so let's test the audio now. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Okay, that's good. All right, so we're going to start off with the script I was given. I really don't want to spoil anything. So I'm just going to say the lines. You won't know what happens, but I'm going to say the lines. Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. You need a count? You need a count? Are you Woody? Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of... Yeah, okay, so we'll try... Natural inclination with this script is I want to do like a Western sort of accent on it. Like, howdy. Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? The same. Sweet aesthetics there, partner. That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Well, 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 well. I hear you're the one to beat. You need a count? So we're going to do one regular deep voice. We're going to do... So we'll do one with an accent, without an accent, and then the third one I said I would do is Yeah, so one without the voice, one with the voice, and then one where it's like a mix. Like, are you Woody? Are you Woody? The gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material. That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. You need a count. So we'll do no accent. Like, are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? That's high praise. That's high praise coming from the best. That's high praise coming from the best of the West. That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Well, I hear, I hear you're the one. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. You need a count. All right, let's give it a try. Hold on. Computer fans losing its mind. I can fix that real quick, but yeah, that's what I thought. I'm just gonna chill out. All right, that should be better. Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. You need a count? Are you Woody? Are you Woody? There we go. Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of Demise? Of Demise and all things material? That's high praise coming from the best of the West. From the best of the West. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. I hear you're the one to beat. To beat. 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 I hear you're the one to beat. You're the one to beat. One to beat. You need a count? You need a count? Count. You need a count? You need a count? Okay, let's listen back to that. So this is the one with normal, deep voice, no accent. Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of Demise, and all things material? That's high praise coming from the best of the West. West. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. You need a count? Are you Woody? Are you Woody? That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Best of the West. Praise coming from the best of the West. Okay, and then we'll save this as just to make sure it came out all right. Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise, and all things material? That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. You need a count? Alright, so let's try that again. We'll do an accent this time. The gunslinger sheriff of demise, and all things material? Woody. That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise, and all things material? That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. To beat. One to beat. You're the one to beat. All right. So let's do another one. This will be with the accent. So we'll do a much more pronounced accent. We'll be like, are you Woody? Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise, and all things? Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise, and all things material? That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Well, I hear you're the one to. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. You need a count? Are you Woody? Here we go. Are you Woody? Are you Woody? The gun. No. Are you. Are. Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? Nah, it needs to sound more engaging. It's like kind of just like, are you blah blah blah. Let's practice. Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? That's high praise coming from the best of the West. From the best of the West. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. You need a count. Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? Are you Woody? Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? That's high praise coming from the best of the West. That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. I hear you're the one to beat. You need a count. Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. You need a count. Are you Woody, the gun? I don't know how I feel about one. We'll see. Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and are you Woody? Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. You need a count. Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. You need a count. That one's not bad. I'll let him decide. I'm just gonna give him a bunch. So we'll give him, this will be version 2. Or you would, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material. That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. West of the West. It's material. Material. That's how one to beat. You need a count. You need a count. Count. All right. So we'll do one now where it's a little more subtle, but there's definitely the Western in it. That one was like more exaggerated. So like, are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise? Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. You need a count. All right. Well, so let's try somewhere in between now. Not, are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise? Now it'll be instead, are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. You need a count. You need a count. you you need a you need a count. 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 All right. I'll be right back. All right, we are back. So let's continue. So now we do one that is sort of in the middle, and then we'll do probably a few other takes for him to look over. All right. Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise, and all things material? That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. You need a count? Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise, and all things material? Yeah, that all things material part kind of sounded weak. And all things material? Nah, I don't like how that sounds at all. This part was sick. The gunslinger sheriff of demise. That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. Coming from the best of the West. You need a count? So it's that second line I need to work on. We'll say. That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Are you Woody? Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Well, I hear you're the one. Well, I hear you're the one. Well, I hear you're the one. I hear you're the one to beat. You need a count? Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things? Are you Woody? Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? That's high praise coming from the best of the West. That's high praise coming from the best of the West. That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. You need a count? Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. I hear you're the one to beat. You need a count. You need a count. You need a count. You need a count. Are you? No. Mm-mm. Are you? No, it's not. Are you? It's. Are you? Are you Woody? Are you Woody? No, it's not it. What am I doing? I cannot fuck this up. This is really important. Are you Woody? It's not Woody. It's Woody. 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 Hmm. 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 It kind of sounds like a bike. Are you Woody? Are you? Are you? Are you? Are you? Are you? Are you? Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise? Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? Are you, Woody? Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? That's high praise coming from the best of the. That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. You need a count? Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Here we go. Come on. Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. You need a count? That one sounded pretty good. Let's see how it sounds here. Are you Woody? Are you Woody? Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? That's high praise coming from the best of the West. The best of the West. Best of the West. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. You're the one to beat. You need a count? You need a count? You need a count? You need a count? Count? You need a count? Let's listen to that one again. Are you Woody, The gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material. All things material. The gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material. Things material. Things material. 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 That's high praise coming from the best of the West. West. High praise coming from the is coming from the best of the West. Of the West of the West. West of the West. Is coming from the best of the West. 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 Well, I hear you're the one to beat. You need a count? Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? That's high praise coming from the best of the West. High praise coming from the best. High praise. High praise coming from the best of the West. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Is coming from the best of the West. High praise coming from the praise coming from the best of the West. That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. You need a count? Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? All things. Demise and all things demise and all things material. Of demise and all things material. Gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material. That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things? One more time for the top. Let's just listen. Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. You need a count? the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material. That's high praise coming from the best of the West. All right, then let's just do wild card. Are you Woody? Are you Are you Woody? The Are you Woody? The gunslinger sheriff. Are you Woody? The gunslinger sheriff of Are you Woody? The guns Star Command. Are you Woody? The gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? Are you Woody? Are you Woody? The gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? That's high praise. Are you Woody? The gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. You need a count? You need a count? Great. All right. Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all? Are you Woody? Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? That's high praise. That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. You need a count? Actually, I'm trying to think now. What do I do? Because I guess I should record some takes of this, huh? Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. You need a count. Let's try that again. All right. So this one will just be like a wild card recording, and then I'll record more because he'll probably want revisions done, I'm sure. These are just four. I'm gonna send him like, okay, here's four different versions. Let me know what you think. I definitely will have time to do a few revisions if you need it. I do a max of 2 revisions. So that's it. 2 revisions, and then it's good. All right, here we go. Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. You need a count? Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? That's high praise coming from the best of the West. West. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. To beat. To beat. The one to beat. One to beat. You're the one to beat. You're the one to beat. You need a count. You need a count. Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. You need a count. Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? That's high praise coming from the best of the West. From the best of the West. That's high praise coming from. That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. You need a count. So this one will be. Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? That's high praise coming from the best of the West. I think personally my favorite is probably number 2. Let's see. I could be wrong. Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. You need a count. I think version 3 is probably the best one. Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. You need a count? Yeah, I think version 3 is going to be the one he chooses. I think it's going to be version 3. Because that is like a good mix of both. Version 1. Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise, and all things material. That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. You need a count? Yeah, I think he's gonna go for version 3, if I had to take a guess. Version 4 is not bad if he doesn't want that deep voice, but I feel like he's gonna like version 3 the most. For sure. For sure. Are you Woody, the gunslinger sheriff of demise and all things material? If he doesn't want as deep, he'll probably pick this one. That's high praise coming from the best of the West. Well, I hear you're the one to beat. You need a count? All right. Well, all those are set. So I'm going to go ahead and export all those, and let's take a quick little break. I'll be back in about 10 minutes or so, guys. So I'll be back. All right, and we are back. So I think to end things off, for the last 40 minutes or so, we're going to read. We're going to do some reading, and we're going to continue where we left off with Marcus Aurelius's Meditations. So last where we left off, the translator was talking about um, the origins of Stoicism. We read about Marcus Aurelius's life as the emperor, and about the philosophical background of uh, Marcus Aurelius and also that generation during that time frame, what philosophy was about. And now we're going to be going over what Stoicism is as a whole. That's the next thing that we'll talk about. You know what? No, I want to actually start reading this. We can read because a lot of this is talking about analyzing every little bit. I want to read the meditations myself and make my own conclusions. I don't want to read the translators and then make my own. Because a lot of this is like later influence, recurring themes. So this is sort of just giving away certain things. So you know what? Let's begin. Let's actually genuinely begin Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Here we go. Let's put some nice music on. All right. Let me share the screen here. All right, let us begin. Truly begin on Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Book 1. Debts and Lessons. Number 1. My grandfather Verus. Character and self-control. Number 2. My father. From my own memories and his reputation. Integrity and manliness. For each of these, I'm going to say to my, just so it makes a bit more sense. 3. To my mother. Her reverence for the divine. Her generosity. Her inability not only to do wrong, but even to conceive of doing it. And the simple way she lived, not in the least like the rich. Number 4. To my great-grandfather. To avoid the public schools, to hire good private teachers, and to accept the resulting costs as money well spent. 5. To my first teacher. Not to support this side or that in chariot racing, this fighter or that in the games. To put up with discomfort and not make demands. To do my own work, mind my own business, and have no time for slanderers. 6. To Diognetus. Not to waste time on nonsense. Not to be taken in by conjurers and hoodoo artists with their talk about incantations and exorcism and all the rest of it. Not to be obsessed with quail fighting or other crazes like that. To hear unwelcome truths, to practice philosophy, and to study with Bacchius, and then with Tandasus, and Marcianus. To write dialogues as a student, to choose the Greek lifestyle, the camp bed, and the cloak. To Rusticus, the recognition that I needed to train and discipline my character, not to be sidetracked by my interest in rhetoric, not to write treatises on abstract questions or deliver moralizing little sermons, or compose imaginary descriptions of the simple life, or the man who lives only for others. To steer clear of oratory, poetry, and belles letters. Not to dress up just to stroll around the house, or things like that. To write straightforward letters, like the one he sent my mother from Sinissueza. And to believe in a conciliatory way when people who have angered or annoyed us want to make up. To read attentively, not to be satisfied with just getting the gist of it, and not to fall for every smooth talker. And for introducing me, to Epictetus's lectures and loaning me his own copy. 8. To Apollonius, to Apollonius, independence and unvarying reliability, and to pay attention to nothing, no matter how fleetingly, except the Logos, and to be the same in all circumstances. Intense pain, the loss of a child, chronic illness, and to see clearly from his example. Excuse me. That a man can show both strength and flexibility. His patience in teaching, and to have seen someone who clearly viewed his expertise and ability as a teacher as the humblest of virtues. And to have learned how to accept favors from friends without losing your self-respect or appearing ungrateful. Nine. To Sextus, kindness, an example of fatherly authority in the home. What it means to live as nature requires. I'll have the chat open here. Gravity without airs. To show intuitive sympathy for friends, tolerance to amateurs, and sloppy thinkers. His ability to get along with everyone. Sharing his company was the highest of compliments, and the opportunity an honor for those around him. To investigate and analyze, with understanding and logic, the principles we ought to live by. Not to display anger or other emotions, to be free of passion, yet full of love. To praise without bombast, to display expertise without pretension. 10. To the literary critic, Alexander. Not to be constantly correcting people, and in particular, not to jump on them whenever they make an error of usage or a grammatical mistake, or mispronounce something, but just answer their question, or add another example, or debate the issue itself, not their phrasing, or make some other contribution to the discussion and insert the right expression unobtrusively. 11. To Fronto. To recognize the malice, cunning, and hypocrisy that power produces, and the peculiar ruthlessness often shown by people from good families. 12. To Alexander the Platonist. Not to be constantly telling people, or writing them, that I'm too busy, unless I really am. Similarly, not to be always ducking my responsibilities to the people around me because of pressing business. 13. To Catullus, not to shrug off a friend's resentment, even unjustified resentment, but try to put things right. To show your teachers ungrudging respect. The Domitius and Athenodotus story. And your children unfeigned love. 14. To my brother, Severus, to love my family, truth, and justice. It was through him that I encountered Thrasea, Helvidius, Cato, Dion, and Brutus, and conceived of a society of equal laws, governed by equality of status and of speech, and of rulers who respect the liberty of their subjects above all else. And from him as well, to be steady and consistent in valuing philosophy, and to help others and be eager to share, not to be a pessimist. Excuse me. And never to doubt your friend's affection for you, and that when people incurred his disapproval, they always knew it, and that his friends never had to speculate about his attitude to anything. It was always clear. "15. To Maximus, self-control and resistance to distractions, optimism in adversity, especially illness, a personality in balance, dignity and grace together, doing your job without whining, other people's certainty that what he said was what he thought, and what he did was done without malice. Never taken aback or apprehensive, neither rash nor hesitant, or bewildered, or at a loss. Not obsequious, but not aggressive or paranoid either. Generosity, charity, honesty. The sense he gave of staying on the path rather than being kept on it. That no one could ever have felt patronized by him, or in a position to patronize him. A sense of humor. 16. To my adopted father, compassion, unwavering adherence to decisions, once he reached them, indifference to superficial honors, hard work, persistence, listening to anyone who could contribute to the public good, his dogged determination to treat people as they deserved, a sense of when to push and when to back off, putting a stop to the pursuit of boys, his altruism, not expecting his friends to keep him entertained at dinner or to travel with him unless they wanted to, and anyone who had to stay behind to take care of something always found him the same when he returned. His searching questions at meetings, a kind of single-mindedness, almost, never content with first impressions, or breaking off the discussion prematurely. his constancy to friends, never getting fed up with them or playing favorites. Self-reliance, always, and cheerfulness, and his advanced planning, well in advance, and his discreet attention to even minor things. His restrictions on acclamations and all attempts to flatter him. His constant devotion to the empire's needs. His stewardship of the treasury. His willingness to take responsibility and blame for both. His attitude to the gods, no superstitiousness, and his attitude to men, no demagoguery, no currying favor, no pandering, always sober, always steady, and never vulgar or a prey to fads. The way he handled the material comforts that fortune had supplied him in such abundance, without arrogance and without apology. If they were there, he took advantage of them. If not, he didn't miss them. No one ever called him glib, or shameless, or pedantic. They saw him for what he was, a man, tested by life, accomplished, unswayed by flattery, qualified to govern both himself and them. His respect for people who practiced philosophy, at least, those who were sincere about it, but without denigrating the others or listening to them. His ability to feel at ease with people and put them at their ease without being pushy. His willingness to take adequate care of himself, not a hypochondriac or obsessed with his appearance, but not ignoring things either, with the result that he hardly ever needed medical attention or drugs or any sort of salve or ointment. This in particular, his willingness to yield the floor to experts in oratory, law, psychology, whatever, and to support them energetically so that each of them could fulfill his potential. That he respected tradition without needing to constantly congratulate himself for safeguarding our traditional values. Not prone to go off on tangents or pulled in all directions, but sticking with the same old places and the same old things. The way he could have one of his migraines and then go right back to what he was doing, fresh and at the top of his game. That he had so few secrets, only state secrets, in fact, and not all that many of those. The way he kept public actions within reasonable bounds, games, building projects, distributions of money, and so on, because he looked to what needed doing, and not the credit to be gained from doing it. No bathing at strange hours, no self-indulgent building projects, no concern for food, or the cut and color of his clothes, or having attractive slaves, the robe from his farm at Lorium, most of the things at Lanuvium, the way he accepted the customs agent's apology at Tusculum, etc. He never exhibited rudeness, lost control of himself, or turned violent. No one ever saw him sweat. Everything was to be approached logically and with due consideration, in a calm and orderly fashion, but decisively, with no loose ends. You could have said of him, as they say of Socrates, that he knew how to enjoy and abstain from things, that most people find it hard to abstain from, and all too easy to enjoy. Strength, perseverance, self-control in both areas, the mark of a soul in readiness, indomitable. Maximus's illness. "17. To the gods. That I had good grandparents, a good mother and father, a good sister, good teachers, good servants, relatives, friends, almost without exception, and that I never lost control of myself with any of them, although I had it in me to do that, and I might have easily. But thanks to the gods, I was never put in that position, and so escaped the test." Book 2. On the River Gran, among the Quadi. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they can't tell good from evil. But I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of evil, and have recognized that the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own, not of the same blood or birth, but the same mind, and possessing a share of the divine, and so none of them can hurt me. No one can implicate me in ugliness, nor can I feel angry at my relative or hate him. We were born to work together like feet, hands, and eyes, like the 2 rows of teeth, upper and lower. To obstruct each other is unnatural. To feel anger at someone, to turn your back on him, these are obstructions. Whatever this is that I am, it is flesh and a little spirit and an intelligence. Throw away your books. Stop letting yourself be distracted. That is not allowed. Instead, as if you were dying right now, despise your flesh. A mess of blood, pieces of bone, a woven tangle of nerves, veins, arteries. Consider what the spirit is. Air, and never the same air, but vomited out and gulped in again every instant. Finally, the intelligence. Think of it this way. You are an old man. Stop allowing your mind to be a slave, to be jerked about by selfish impulses, to kick against fate and the present, and to mistrust the future. 3. What is divine is full of providence. Even chance is not divorced from nature, from the inweaving and enfolding of things governed by providence. Everything proceeds from it, and then there is necessity. And the needs of the whole world, of which you are a part. Whatever the nature of the whole does, and whatever serves to maintain it, is good for every part of nature. The world is maintained by change, in the elements and in the things they compose. That should be enough for you. Treat it as an axiom. Discard your thirst for books, so that you won't die in bitterness, but in cheerfulness and truth. grateful to the gods from the bottom of your heart. 4. Remember how long you've been putting this off, how many extensions the gods gave you, and you didn't use them. At some point, you have to recognize what world it is that you belong to, what power rules it, and from what source you spring, that there is a limit to the time assigned you, and if you don't use it to free yourself, it will be gone and will never return. Concentrate every minute like a Roman, like a man, on doing what's in front of you with precise and genuine seriousness, tenderly, willingly, with justice, and on freeing yourself from all other distractions. Yes, you can. If you do everything as if it were the last thing you were doing in your life, and stop being aimless. Stop letting your emotions override what your mind tells you. Stop being hypocritical, self-centered, irritable. You see how few things you have to do to live a satisfying and reverent life? If you can manage this, that's all even the gods can ask of you. 6. Yes, keep on degrading yourself, soul, but soon your chance at dignity will be gone. Everyone gets one life. Yours is almost used up, and instead of treating yourself with respect, you have entrusted your own happiness to the souls of others. 7. Do external things distract you? Then make time for yourself to learn something worthwhile. Stop letting yourself be pulled in all directions. But make sure you guard against the other kind of confusion. People who labor all their lives but have no purpose to direct every thought and impulse toward are wasting their time, even when hard at work. 8. Ignoring what goes on in other people's souls. No one ever came to grief that way. But if you won't keep track of what your own soul's doing, how can you not be unhappy? 9. Don't ever forget these things. The nature of the world, my nature, how I relate to the world, what proportion of it I make up. That you are part of nature, and no one can prevent you from speaking and acting in harmony with it. Always. 10. In comparing sins, the way people do, Theophrastus says that the ones committed out of desire are worse than the ones committed out of anger, which is good philosophy. The angry man seems to turn his back on reason, out of a kind of pain and inner convulsion, but the man motivated by desire, who is mastered by pleasure, seems somehow more self-indulgent, less manly in his sins. Theophrastus is right, and philosophically sound, to say that the sin committed out of pleasure deserves a harsher rebuke than the one committed out of pain. The angry man is more like a victim of wrongdoing, provoked by pain to anger. The other man rushes into wrongdoing on his own, moved to action by desire. What are we at for time? Okay, I've got a few minutes left. 11. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. If the gods exist, then to abandon human beings is not frightening. The gods would never subject you to harm. And if they don't exist, or don't care what happens to us, what would be the point of living in a world without gods or providence? But they do exist. They do care what happens to us. And everything a person needs to avoid real harm, they have placed within him. If there were anything harmful on the other side of death, they would have made sure that the ability to avoid it was within you. If it doesn't harm your character, how can it harm your life? Nature would not have overlooked such dangers through failing to recognize them, or because it saw them, but was powerless to prevent or correct them. Nor would it ever, through inability or incompetence, make such a mistake as to let good and bad things happen indiscriminately to good and bad alike. But death and life, success and failure, pain and pleasure, wealth and poverty, all these happen to good and bad alike, and they are neither noble nor shameful, and hence neither good nor bad. Interesting. The speed with which all of them vanish, the objects in the world, and the memory of them in time, and the real nature of the things our senses experience, especially those that entice us with pleasure, or frighten us with pain, or are loudly trumpeted by pride. To understand those things, how stupid, contemptible, grimy, decaying, and dead they are. That's what our intellectual powers are for. And to understand what those people really amount to, whose opinions and voices constitute fame, and what dying is, and that if you look at it in the abstract, and break down your imaginary ideas of it by logical analysis, you realize that it's nothing but a process of nature, which only children can be afraid of, and not only a process of nature, but a necessary one. And how man grasps God, with what part of himself he does so, and how that part is conditioned when he does. 13. Nothing is more pathetic than people who run around in circles, delving into the things that lie beneath, and conducting investigations into the souls of the people around them, never realizing that all you have to do is to be attentive to the power inside you and worship it sincerely. To worship it is to keep it from being muddled with turmoil and becoming aimless and dissatisfied with nature, divine and human. What is divine deserves our respect because it is good. What is human deserves our affection because it is like us, and our pity too, sometimes for its inability to tell good from bad, as terrible a blindness as the kind that can't tell white from black. And I think that is a good place for us to end our reading for today. Very interesting so far. Very, very interesting. Well, this has been a great stream back. I missed this. I'm looking forward to getting back into the routine. However, there is a possibility that I might have to move the stream schedule around, just because I might be starting a new job soon. Potentially, we'll see. And if that's the case, I will make a post about it on my story. But yeah. Although I had to look up some scripts to do for the week. So I'm gonna see what there is. Maybe I'll do another Fallout one. Another monologue, perhaps. We'll see. But yeah. In the meantime, stay tuned for that, and I will see you all in the next one. So thank you to everybody that tuned in. Have a great rest of your day, and take care.